Hello my fellow cosplayers and furries. Today you and I are going to learn how to make some indoor Feetpaws. This design is a mixture of the traditional digitigrade fursuit and the more realistic slim feet that some cosplayers wear. This way, we all can enjoy some cute anthropomorphic footwear. I've designed these in a way so that you can follow along, no pattern download needed, because I am going to show you how to make a pattern to specifically fit you. Now sit tight while I explain what you're going to need in order to begin making your very own Feetpaws. First off, you'll need some shoes, preferably slip-ons. I used Crocs to make these. Then you'll need zips, some scrap stretchy fabric like fleece, applique fabric, use something soft and stretchy. I use suede scuba here. Some minky for claws, coral fleece or minky to match your top fur color. And then the fur of your choice. I'm using amber and blonde shaggy long pile faux fur from Big Z Fabrics. You will also need to throw foam at your employee, an important step. Some other important items will be some of that upholstery foam, some EVA foam, a long ruler and measuring tape, a ventilation mask that protects you from chemical fumes, a curved needle, contact adhesive, wand clips, a slicker brush, a pet shaver and clipper oil, duct tape, a variety of scissors, a box cutter and fresh blades. You need permanent markers, a whiteboard marker, air and water erasable markers, a chalk pencil, tailor's chalk, thread, a thing to turn stuff inside out. This is optional. You want your glue gun and glue sticks, a comb and a hairdryer. And we mustn't forget your lovely sewing machine. This is Nadja. She's amazing. Grab a shoe and trace the shape onto cardboard. I'm using old cereal boxes. Then, you need to mark the front edges and the center, like so. This is how you find where the toes are going to sit, and how big they need to be. Draw some curves and connect them to the shoe outline. Then cut out the foot shape you have just made. Cut little slits along the line where the shoe meets the toes. This is to show where to cut for the EVA toe platform. Trace the upper shape onto some EVA and cut it out with a box cutter. Ignore the book that tells you not to copy me. This is a tutorial, after all. Put on your ventilation mask before opening the contact adhesive container. Scruff up the front of the shoe. This will make it easier for the glue to adhere to it. Take your EVA foam toes and slather some glue onto the edge that will meet the shoe. Normally, you would want to make this a thin layer, but instead of gluing both the foam and the shoe, we are going to use the foam as a stamp to show where the glue needs to go on the shoe. A little trick I've learned is to use a hairdryer to quicken the drying process of the glue. Heat and wind cause the glue to become tacky quicker. This will save you a lot of time. You don't want the glue sticky or too dry. Test to find the tacky middle ground. Then you just put the pieces together like a little puzzle, making sure the bottom of the EVA foam is level with the bottom of the shoe. Now it's time to get out that upholstery foam. I'm using 1.5-inch high density foam. Trace the same pattern you just used onto the foam and cut it out. Glue the foam on top of the EVA platform, using the same stamping method. Hair dry both pieces and stick them together, making sure that everything lines up. Take your cardboard pattern and draw a shallow curve from where the toe ends on one side to where the opposite toe ends on the other side. Cut slits along this line like you did earlier. Now, trace that pattern onto some more upholstery foam. When cutting this out, cut at an angle where the toes attach to the shoe. Glue this piece on top of the last one that you stuck down. Remember, stamp, hair dry, stick. Cut out another piece of foam in the same shape as the first one. This is to add some height to the toes. Glue them on and get ready to do some carving. First, cut some slits between the toes. Then, grab your big scissors and cut off all of the edges. Take smaller scissors and make cuts perpendicular to the first ones. This rounds out and smooths the foam into shape. I am making these for someone else, so I bulked up my leg with scrap fleece until I got to the correct measurements. Wrap your leg and the shoe in plastic or cling wrap, then start covering everything in duct tape. Tape up to where you would like the foot to end. Now you want to mark where you are going to divide up your pattern. Draw lines down the front and back, around the base of the foot, between the toes, and wherever there will be curves to splice. Don't forget to draw marks connecting the divides. This will help you put the pattern together again. Draw your fur direction and any extra info, then cut yourself out. Be free! Cut up your pattern and make sure everything lies flat. If it doesn't, add splices until it does. Draw your bean design onto the base of the foot, but don't cut them out yet. Get your toe fur ready. Trace the toe patterns onto the fur. Remember to check the fur direction. Add those marks that you made and number the pieces. I add a plus to all of the up-facing pattern pieces. Draw all of the pieces onto the fur, but don't cut them out yet. Now put on your mask. You don't want to inhale the fur fibers. Trust me. It is time to shave. Get out your pet shaver and carefully shave down the fur, doing several passes. A little tip if you want to get a closer shave, brush the fur back and shave again. Then shave diagonally, both ways. Grab a pair of sharp little scissors and cut out the pieces. Be careful and take it slow, cutting only the knit backing. Leave a small amount of seam allowance. We will hand sew these pieces later. Now to trace the long fur pieces. Take note of the fur direction. Use chalk and trace around the patterns, making sure to add those marks. Once one side has been traced, flip it over and trace the mirrored pattern. We are making a pair of shoes after all. Cut all of those pieces out and put them to the side. And back at it again with the blonde fur. Trace out the foot base pattern and shave the fur, more lightly than before. Once shaved, cut out the beans from the pattern and trace them onto the blonde fur. Get out the applique fabric and cut rectangles bigger than the foot bases. It's time to prep the sewing machine. Wind up a bobbin using the same color as your applique fabric. Thread the machine. Pin your fabric together, making sure that the right side of the fur and the wrong side of the applique fabric are touching. Now, go and sew along the bean lines. Cut the excess fabric away and trim around the beans. Take this part nice and slow. Once that is done, take your curved needle and pull out the trapped fur, bit by bit. Slice open the back of the beans so that you can fill them up with some stuffing. Then sew them closed. I use a ladder stitch here, but whip stitches are fine. You won't see this. Sew up the toes using a blanket stitch. Leave the middle gaps open, however. We will be putting the claws in there later. Grab your long fur pieces. It's time to sew them together on the machine. Match up the marks and use wonder clips to keep them together. Take the upper portion patterns and cut out some material for lining. We are only going to line the top, as we want some ventilation in the foot region. Sew the two sides together, on both the lining and the fur, connecting them at the front part of the leg and leaving the back open. We will be adding a zip here. Then hem the bottom of the lining. After that, we are going to sew the lining to the fur at the base. Brush the fur out of the seam line with a slicker brush. And it's zip time! Slide open the zip and clip one side to the back edge of the fur and the lining. Sew using a straight stitch, making sure to catch all 3 layers. Now repeat on the other side. And there we go, you have an invisible zip. Cut out 2 strips of coral fleece or minky, taking the measurement of the circumference of the top edge for the length, and make the height 6 cm or 2.5 inches. Clip it to the top of the foot with the pile direction going up and the wrong side facing up. Go ahead and sew it together. Now take the cuff fabric and flip it over to the inside, folding it in on itself. Clip it all in place and sew it close to the edge. Now it's time to sew everything together. Clip the leg part to the foot part, minus the toes, and sew them together. Take this slow. It is a bit tricky. It's time to make some claws. Draw out your desired shape and test it against the foot. Grab some minky and fold it over, making sure that the pile direction is all the same. Trace your pattern onto the minky. We're going to make some socks. Sew along that line, leaving the base open. Here I am using a thin metal rod that has a hook on the tip to turn the claws inside out. You can use many tools for this. Tweezers also work fine. Stuff the claws, then sew them onto the toes using a blanket stitch. Then, sew the toes to the rest of the foot, also using that blanket stitch. Now to glue the fabric to the base. Take your glue gun and get glue in the crevices between the toes. Then place the fabric over in the correct positioning and hold in place until the glue sets. Then glue the foot bases to the soles of the shoes, keeping pressure to make sure the glue sets properly. We're almost there! Ladder stitch around the base of the foot, making sure to keep the tension on each stitch so that the connection is nice and secure. Brush out those seams. It's time to neaten things up a bit. Grab the pet shaver, making sure to oil it, and cut down the fur on the edges of the foot base. Take a pair of small scissors and neaten up all the edges, pulling up the fur to make sure you get it all snipped. See the difference between the unshaved and the shaved foot? Here I am just adding my little tag. And here's the finished footpaw. Well done for making it this far. If you do make some feet paws of your own, don't be afraid to show me how it turned out. I would love to see.